Hi everyone, and welcome to the Have You Got 10 Minutes podcast with me, Nikki Tapper. I'll be chatting to household names from music, TV, film, business, and because they're busy people, hence the title. We'll hear how they got started in their careers, what they're currently up to, and a favourite music track of theirs. So let's talk to this episode's guest from the world of music, the British legend that is Junior Giscombe. So Junior, have you got 10 minutes?
Of course I've got 10 minutes. Anything for you, Nikki.
Why, thank you. I really do appreciate it. Junior Giscombe, what a pleasure to get to talk to one of the legends when it comes to British soul music and the mark that you have left on the scene, especially when it comes to that style of music, with your classic Mama Used to Say. That is how old now? Gosh,
that must be 40. Let me think about this now. I don't want to lie. 43 years old.
Yeah, I'm here 43 years old. My gosh.
Yeah, 43.
Look at that. You know, when you say something like that and you realise that you've had a song that stood, to use a kind of DJ term, the test of time. How does it make you feel?
When I wrote this song, it was about, obviously, your mother. So I wrote what my mother was saying to me. And it was very funny to me because of the situation that marked the song. So 43 years on, to still hear it on the radio on various stations. And when I leave the country, I go to other countries and they play it as well. You do sit back and you smile because you've been fortunate enough to have made a classic. People love it. Most artists make records and they're fortunate to have a hit record all the time. And it doesn't stand the test, as you said, of time. So to be able to be in that bracket of having a record that every Mother's Day is the most played record in the world, his mama used to say. And to be in that kind of bracket is just incredible to me. It wasn't something that I felt, but that one stands out for people.
Yeah,
That one makes people smile. And that's what you wanted to do in the first place, make people smile and touch them.
Brilliant. No, it has. It's just such a joy that it has that legacy. And you know, you talking about writing that song and going back to the fact of your mom used to say, Junior, if you ever...
You know what I'm
saying? Just tell us a little bit about what it was like for you and how music became such, your life really. And it's still to this very day, you're going strong with the likes of the British Collective, with Donny, and of course we lost Noel and Omar.
Yeah. I remember starting out in this business and saying to myself that, like, I don't want to get to that age whereby I'm on stage with a stick singing Mama Used to Say, right? You laugh. And that's what it was. At the very beginning, I didn't want that. I wanted to be able to continue to make records, continue to do what I'm doing and continue to have fun. So when I started, again, we were playing rock soul. We weren't playing rock. We weren't playing funk. We weren't playing what everybody else was playing, which was more like a jazz funk kind of thing. I didn't want to do that. I heard the Isley Brothers in 71 with Who's That Lady? And that just freaked me because nobody else was doing that kind of thing, which is like a rock, R&B, guitars were going. And coming from England, we were hearing that thing. We were hearing that rock music coming through. And I wanted to blend the two. And I wanted my music to be distinctively British, basically.
Yes, and make sure that it was celebrated in such a manner that we would remember it, which of course it has done. And I didn't realise this, that you from those heady beginnings, you could say, that you have written songs for some real well-known pop rock artists, Phil Lynott, Thin Lizzy, Sheena Easton.
Yeah.
My goodness, Jimmy Sullivan, Paul Weller. I mean, you've really been in the heart of, you could call kind of 1980s, 90s Brit pop soul era.
There was a time whereby I didn't want to be pigeonholed. It would be easy to turn around and say, oh, he's a pop R&B, or he's a commercial, or I didn't want any of that. I wanted it to be junior music.
Yeah.
The only way I was going to be able to do that was to work with different people all the time so that you could constantly learn while you're going along. You have your own thing. Most people have their own thing, but there was always something to learn. When I worked with Phil Lynott, Phil would turn around and say to me, Junior, if it's running at 100 miles an hour, which is the track, then you sing half time. I did a track with M-Beat, right? Morning Will Come. I did in a jungle style.
Oh,
Well, jungle was 100 miles an hour. And it was because of working with Phil, I sang it half time and we had a number one hit with it. And I'm like, again, it's what you've learned and then you apply it to what you're doing. So I was doing that during that period of I did Do You Really Want My Love for Beverly Hill Cop. The album did 170 million copies worldwide. It was a rock R&B track. Again, learning from what I'd done with Paul Weller and people like Jimmy Ruffin, and we put something together. Soul Deep was the name of the song. Soul Deep became a hit. But again, it was working with different people and understanding different shapes then that you could apply music.
My God.
So it was all of those things that, like, going through it during the miners' strike, very much an activist during that period of time, right, of wanting to see Britain in a better place. So we went out on tour as Red Wedge. I did all of that too. Right? So as I said, it was really that whole period from 81 to, I would say, 90, 95, around about that period. It was a wonderful period for music in Britain, right? Because we were all making a style of music that was very distinctive to all of us. And to be a part of that era of those 15 years was fantastic.
And now with what you're doing, as I said, you're still there on stage, you're still performing with British Collective, Omar, Donny. As I said, unfortunately, a couple of years back now, we lost Noel McCoy, who was, again, a prolific, well-known British soul artist. How do you still find working and getting music out in that way on the live circuit?
I think it's the most important part of doing music, playing live. But one, you get to see the audience, but most importantly, you're in a moment. So everything you're doing is that moment. You'll never be able to recreate that again, that feeling, that vibe. And if you speak to most artists, I would say 99.9% of artists will tell you being live is the best part of what we do. Right? To see your face, to see that smile, to see that understanding of what you're putting across. You can't beat it. You can make a record, you can go back in, you can re-sing it, you can change that part, you can do this, you can do that, but that moment on stage, that's it. So working with Don and Omar over the last 6 to 7 years in doing the British Collective has been an absolute joy, because when we get together, we don't actually know what we're actually going to do. Here's the song. That's wonderful. Because we choose the songs we're going to sing.
Yeah.
Right? We've done the rehearsal. The rehearsal never turns out like the show. The show always turns out better because we're in the moment and we'll change it. So each one of us runs with the change. It's amazing. And because of that, it's like I'm going through yet another stage of music. And it's like with jazz. Jazz is improvisation. So you don't actually know what you're going to do. You just play. You have a basic standard, like this is what we're supposed to be doing. But I went and saw years ago, Miles Davis. And Miles Davis was on stage at Hammersmith Odeon and he had a 4-piece. And one of the players played a wrong note. And everybody in the band was like, oh my gosh. And Miles looked at him and started playing off of that wrong note. Right. And everybody followed. And I just found that incredible. And whether or not what you're feeling and expressing touches people. Oh. That's what Miles showed me as a kid. And I've used that too as my kind of barometer then.
Yes, in what you're doing. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Junior, as I said, although you're busy and we're chatting away here, we could be another hour. It's only 10 minutes. So thank you so much for your time. 2 things I just want you, if you're happy to mention, is of course your album that you brought out 3-4 years back, Everything Set, was in memory of your daughter Janique, and I know that you lost your wife as well, Nadia, to multiple sclerosis. How have you found dealing with the losses, and is the album and his music still a therapy for you as well?
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, like, doing everything set was Janique's idea. You know, taking my own songs and doing them in a reggae style, but duetting with great artists, you know, Tabby Diamond, Luciana, you know, Janet, Carol Thompson. To be able to have done that, it still, and for me, it still stands the test of time after 3 to 4 years of it being out there. It's wonderful. Losing both over a period of time showed me how we are here for such a short space of time. We can all count up to 100, but not many of us live to 100. And it showed me that while we're here, we must love one another, we must care for one another, and we must look out for one another. And we mustn't put tomorrow off, i.e., oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll do that. No, do it today and enjoy the day. You don't give to receive, you give. And you give uncompromisingly. And that's what both of those women showed me was the most important factor of my life in what I had to do with them during that period of their lives. And it made me a much better man, a much stronger man, and a more compassionate man towards most things in life.
It's so wonderful to hear, Junior. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm glad that it's left such a positive legacy on you, their passing and their lives at the same time. So to end our time, I always ask everybody, Junior, what's their favourite track and why? That's because I love music, and also give you, you, the listener, the opportunity to go and find the track and listen to it yourself and enjoy it. So what's the track you've chosen and why?
The track I've chosen is a track called If Ever. It was on an album that I did called Sophisticated Street. And the reason it was such a favorite of mine was because I recorded it down in Minneapolis at Creation Studios with a young man at the time called Monty Moore. And we had such a great time being with Prince, being with Jam and Lewis. And that song became everybody's favorite when I was in Minneapolis. And the other day, I heard it on the radio from a DJ, and it's one of those songs where you sit back and you think, oh my God, this is actually really good. At the time of doing it, you think, yeah, it's all right, and you move on. But that song, it meant a lot. And I think a lot of people, if they get the chance to hear it, right, will understand what I'm saying. If ever you're passing by.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Junior Giscon, really appreciate it. Giving me your 10 minutes. Bless you.
Pleasure. Thank you, Nikki.
Many thanks then to my guest, Junior Giscon there. Don't forget you can follow him on social media platforms and do the same for me. Just look for Nikki Tapper, NIKKITAPPER. And join me again on the podcast. Have you got 10 minutes? This podcast is presented and produced by me, Nikki Tapper, for NT Events Limited and for Nikki Tapper Limited.